Hello, once again, we invited our guest speaker in this morning's CPMS Kapihan to share her school's experience. Their school has been open to in-person classroom teaching for the past 2 years. Our guest has had a career of 20 years working with children using the Montessori approach. She earned her postgraduate diploma in Montessori Elementary in Washington Montessori Institute and Master of Education in Loyola University in Maryland, USA. She is a Cebuana, a Theresian, and a University of San Carlos graduate. She is currently based in Boston, Massachusetts, as a Montessori specialist supporting their elementary team. So let's get started. Let's welcome Teacher Bem, as we fondly call her. Teacher Bem.
Hi, good afternoon. Good afternoon, everyone. It's good evening here. It's around 11:30 in the evening here in Boston. We're 12 hours apart, but it was all worth the listening and all worth the waiting. No? As what Teacher Marivic had said, this is quite overwhelming. And I must say, as I mentioned to Miss Marivic, that this is very impressive. You know, the conversation did not start in November. As you recall, Teacher Marivic, it started when we had a shutdown in my previous school last month, 2 years ago in March, when no one knew what was going on and we had to shut down that school. So we shut down in March, and then for the rest of the school year, so that would be in March, April, May, and then I moved to another school. They also shut down for the remaining school year. And then the following school year, they decided to open. Now, and we kept on getting in touch with Teacher Marivic. I always told her nga, Teacher Marivic, posible lagi nga mag-open kay 2 years na good me. So, but of course, there were other constraints like your government permission. Just like what we had, we always had to refer to our, the equivalent of our Department of Health in the Philippines. And we also had a board of parents and members who sat down and had to, have this conversation to make this in face-to-face classes possible. Another important thing that I have to point out is that while it's true that you have a protocol, it will change as the conditions improve. Now, presently, after 2 years, and that was like last month, we already implemented no mask indoors and outdoors. So, but during that journey, there was a time when things improved, especially during the summer and spring of last year, where we allowed our children to take off the mask outdoors. But indoors, we still had to put on our mask. Now, and during the time when, it's been like, I think 2 or 3 weeks already, and when the children started taking off their mask, we decided as adults to put on our mask. And like any year as a teacher, we will always be infected by the children's colds and cough. And this in 2 years, this is the first time that I've experienced sore throat and colds and cough. So for those past 2 years, when we implemented the strict protocol of making face-to-face class possible, with all the parents and all the community deciding we will vaccinate, we will cooperate, we will put on our mask indoors, we will put our mask outdoors, we will inform the parents if we went out, and then we will inform the parents that we need to quarantine. So you have all those protocols in place. It's very impressive, Teacher Marivic, that the way you lay it out for the parents to understand the procedure, it showed the hard work of 2 years of conversation and to cooperate, to have a dialogue with the private sector and the government, that this thing is possible. And it is true that you're saying that We'll do it little at a time. When we did ours, we did everyone together, toddlers, primary, elementary, lower elementary, and upper elementary together. The only difference was that we reduced the number of students. Now, in my classroom right now, in lower elementary, we have around 24 students. The original number of class size is 30. So we only took out a few children. In upper elementary, we have a small classroom of 12. And we maintain that. So while it said like we had maybe a little over 100, we only had a handful of students who were not accepted just because, we decided that we will have a cutoff of maybe 96 students, no? So what I'm saying, and based on all the questions that you've asked, the priorities of your school and your priorities are in sync. They're aligned, as what Ms. Marivi could say. Your concern about children's socialization was really impaired for the past 2 years. It's like sleeping at the age of 0 age, and then you woke up at 3 years old. And developmentally, that is very detrimental. I'm speaking for students in the elementary. We had one student who came in, who was homeschooled for the first year and came in and joined us at grade 2. For a long time, I really felt, my thought and my treatment to him was that of a grade 1 student. Why? Because behavior-wise and socializing, his social skills were that of a grade 1 student. So he missed out a lot of that socialization simply because there was I always call it a drop stitch in knitting, no? When you knit and then you miss out on a stitch and you just carry on. So not to say that he has not improved. He was able to catch up because children are really resilient, but I am just trying to emphasize the effect of that missing key of socialization. So that I think the program, like, as much as we have this constant conversation with Marivic, CPS has been really trying their best to be true to the philosophy, and not just a closed understanding of the philosophy, but also aware of the environment and the things that's going on. So we've been doing our homework here in Adams Montessori and in Montessori Institute of Broward in Florida, but I've never seen how comprehensive and how well parents, the school try to inform parents from the nitty-gritty part to making sure that they do it in little chunks so that it can really truly be digested. Well, this conversation right now is being discussed, like, what do you need? This is the protocol of all of these things. It will change. So it will change as the situation improves. Now, you who decided to have the face-to-face in, after 2 years, with that, we already have a lot of information, a lot of things going on, and you are now more equipped to make the decision because the ones who went before you already had the experience and they shared it, and the Department of Health and the Department of Education already had, they already have models of how to go about it. So you are in a place where you don't have to reinvent the wheel because it has already been tried and tested for the past 2 years. So this is my way of assuring CPMS families that CPMS is doing their homework and they are actively out there listening to what is best practice and to listening what is also doable in your school. Okay, so priorities that I've seen from parents are this. One is that you're concerned about your socialization. which is very impressive because you're more concerned about the emotional state of your children and the awareness that your children really need to connect with other children and with parents also. They're not just aware of supporting the children, but the school is also aware of sharing what parents can do in this transition. You know, as teachers, we really cannot make um, a guarantee. But as what the other presenter said, what's the use of having a plan? But in the end, it will still, get spoiled. But it is. They're doing their job. And when that time comes, let it not be said that it was they didn't prepare. And because they have this plan, they are now able to tweak what needs to be done if there was no answer to any question, a situation that would have happened and you didn't have a prepared answer for that. Okay. So socialization. So we have a discussion. We had the discussion with with the staff on what our priorities are when the children come in. It's really to support their emotional state, uh, parallel to the characteristics of the child at a certain age. Like, for example, when we talk about elementary, we're saying that, oh, there's a need for them to socialize. So how are you going to go about it? What will we do with the materials? So I think that will be another conversation with the staff, but not to say that they don't know what to do, because we already had that discussion. The way CPMS will do it is that they will just lay it out in detail now, what it's like when your child walks into the gate of that school and goes inside the classroom, and how they would uh, carry themselves. So it is very important that um, parents and the school staff of CPMS communicate on what's going on. Our priority is grace and courtesy. It's a very, uh, like, I think it's an equivalent of good manners and right conduct in the olden days curriculum. But this one is more practical and really hands-on, so that as part of the philosophy of we want our children to be independent, the way to independence is for the children to know what to do. So um, we will give them a scaffold onto how they're going to conduct themselves to keep themselves safe. Safety is priority right now, because if you're safe, the more you can come to school. The more you can come to school, the more we can give the curricular work. So that you will have the discussion with the school. And I am glad also that the way you're saying, the way you're messaging that we will do it little at a time. I'm one who's impatient because I've seen that we've done it like in one go and all of us went there, to school. But I'm glad that you know, CPMS, through the leadership of Marivic, is restraining herself. Kailan mo ko na Marivic, gusto man po na siyang atap man po na siya nga, halat kita ng tanan, apil na tayo, But she's also restraining because her concern is we will make this successful so the next children, group of children can come in and our teachers are safe. Why? Dire, ang takot yun is the infection will be coming from the children, especially if they're not infected. So it's the children bringing the infection to the adults. And we need our adults to be healthy because they're taking care of more children. So the key also is really a collaboration with family to inform the school if someone in the family is sick, and if someone in the family is sick, specifically with COVID, then you will have to decide that your child shouldn't come to school. Things like that, no? Because if we're really doing it as a community and we want to succeed, we will have to, the way they've consulted from all the departments, your consultation is equally important and valuable. So in order for us to have an open environment that is safe for all, these are the CPMS is doing the necessary steps and giving you and communicating to you the important information, so that I think we are in good hands. You are in good hands, no? I just want to, because what parents really want to know is, do you know what you're doing? Can you assure us that our children will be safe? So part of that really is a community. I always say it takes a village to raise a child. So we are the village. So let's cooperate. Let's try to help each other, and let's try to keep healthy, and the question is it possible? It is possible, because we've done this for the past 2 years, and we are in a state where the children can go back to hockey, soccer, basketball, and go out and have their play dates after school hours. So it is possible. So you are taking this in stride, and I think you are in good hands. And this is the reassurance that we're trying to take. One step at a time is an assurance that we're going to get there. Will it be the same as it was before? No, because we have experienced tougher times. So the coming days will become better. That's what hope is all about. So if you have any other question, I think CPMS staff have done their homework and have answered all your questions as best as they can. And they will continue to accommodate any questions and carry on the conversation for the coming days. So congratulations for taking the first step, Teacher Maria, staff, and of course, parents. And the key is we're doing this for the love of your children. So good morning or good evening.